Hi, I'm Mark Baxter. I work with YWAM in Jacksonville, Florida. A couple of years ago, I was reading an article in the traveling team's website. It was written by Steve Shadrach, who I've met. He's a great guy. I consider him to be one of the premier mobilizers in the church today. And he used a word that I had not seen before, and that was the word gobilize. As I thought about what he meant by that, to go and mobilize, I realized that that's something that I'd been doing a little bit of, but that is something that I wanted to increase in because I believe in the concept. And so it wasn't long after that we had a fall discipleship training school here in Jacksonville and had a man from Ghana apply. He lives part-time in Ghana, part-time in the U.S., and he applied, and we accepted him, and he came and did the school. He was a really good student. He went and did his outreach in Ghana, and so it was at around the end of that outreach time in late February where he called me, and he was in Ghana. He said he really wanted me to come and do some training of his staff there in Ghana. And I said, well, I'll think about it. Well, honestly, I didn't want to go. I've been there before, and it's kind of a Christian area, and we've wanted to focus on the unreached here. So a couple days go by, and he calls me again. He said, are you still thinking about it? I said, yeah. And he said, well, how much is an airline ticket? So I looked it up online while we were talking. It was rather expensive. And so, we talked some more about it. I said, I'll keep thinking about it. Well, the next day, an amount showed up in our account for the airline ticket. This man, who just a fabulous guy, he had actually sent the money for me to buy an airline ticket. So you know what that means? That means I'm going to Ghana. And so I applied. I had difficulty getting there. I got turned away at one point in New York City because Ghana had changed their requirements due to COVID on the visas. But I ended up finally getting there, and that was in the spring. And I met with him. His name is Prince. I met with he and his staff. And as we talked about it, he said what they'd really like is for us to start to do a DTS under YWAM Jacksonville, but do it with his staff there in Ghana. And so I thought about it some, and after meeting his staff, I felt like that would be a good thing. So I went back in mid-June and did some staff training and then started the school. And I was actually the school leader, so I was there a lot during the lecture phase. During that first week after the staff training, during the first week of the school, I had the opportunity to teach, and I taught on some of the principles of disciple-making movements. And I came back to Jacksonville, and then it was about another 2 weeks passed, and I went back to teach for another week in the school, and while maintaining contact, of course, with the staff the whole time. And when I got back there, I was talking to him, and one of them, his name is Moses, he told me that they had planted 20 churches. And I said, wait a minute, what do you mean you've planted 20 churches? And he said, well, since you left and we started going out, we've planted 20 churches. This was in about 2 or 3 weeks. I said, well, how is that possible? His response really kind of shocked me. He said, well, we just did what you taught us. We just started going out and doing prayer walks in the community every day from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Monday through Friday, they would go out and do these prayer walks. And then they'd pray, and they'd ask God to lead them to a person of peace. And of course, God answers that prayer. And so then they would share the gospel. These people would accept the Lord. They would, basically, by the person of peace, simply put, they accepted the messenger, the message, and the mission. And so they would begin a study in that house the following week, going through the commands of Jesus. And they were doing that in 20 house churches. And pretty soon, it continued to multiply, because I came home after that week. I was home for a couple of weeks, went back for 2 weeks, and did some more teaching. We watched some of the Dean Sherman videos and do, what's normal in a DTS. And some of those churches had already started a second gen church, which was really quick, and I was just like so surprised. Well, what I learned is these guys, when you do the simple teachings of prayer walking and persons of peace and studying the commands of Jesus and beginning to train leaders, God really honors that. And so they went on their outreach actually they went into 3 different locations because it was a decent sized DTS. Some went to Nigeria, some went to northern Ghana, and some went to Sierra Leone. In all of those places, they started some of these small rabbit type churches, the house churches. It was amazing. Well, when that school ended, I was very encouraged, and they wanted to do another school, inviting more people to come to do this. It's a DTS, but with a strong focus on disciple-making movements. And so I went back, did a second school there, which was in the spring of this year, actually, and unbelievable. The same thing is happening, and their outreach just concluded, and actually I'm going back in a couple days for the graduation of the DTS, the second DTS, and they are again planting churches in the Accra area, which is a Christian area, but that's a great place for training. And here's the deal about gobilizing, is when you go to mobilize, basically what I was doing is I was training Africans to reach Africans. And especially our heart is to reach Africans that are unreached. And in the northern Ghana, Burkina Faso, that area is many Muslim groups. And so I have seen the fruit of gobilizing. I love it. In fact, we'll be doing another school there probably next spring because they are really hungry and they're seeing tremendous fruit. And so the whole idea of gobilizing is to train people that are nearby unreached people groups, to train them in DMM principles, and then they go and they reach people. Yes, it's a little bit of a different culture, but it is still not nearly as big a difference as what it is for somebody, say, from America to go to West Africa. So I have seen tremendous fruit. I'm very thankful to the Lord for this relationship with Prince and with the ministry there in Ghana. Now we've started doing some of this in Thailand, some of this in the Central African Republic. In India, we'll be doing 2 seminars like this in different areas of northern India. So the idea of gobilizing is powerful, to go and mobilize the locals to reach unreached people that are nearby them. So we love it. I think it's a great strategy, and I plan on giving a lot of my time for the rest of my life on gobilizing.